So, what interview questions should you expect? Well, there are a few common types of questions to be aware of. Usually, you'll be asked a mixture of these question types. Unless you are told your interview will focus on one specific type of question, it's best to take them all into consideration. Firstly, there are motivational questions. These, unsurprisingly, are designed to gauge your motivations for applying for a role. Typical examples here include, why have you applied for this job? What makes you want to work for us? And what do you think makes us a successful organisation? Secondly, there are questions that will test your commercial awareness. Examples here include, what do you know about our organisation? What do you see as the main challenges we face? And if I gave you £10,000 to invest in a new product in the next 3 months, what would it be and why? Thirdly, CV and career aspiration questions. These are designed to find out more about your experience to date and your future ambitions. You might be asked, tell me about your previous internship. What are your career goals? Or the classic, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Next up are competency-based questions. These are incredibly common for graduate interviews and are designed to find out if you possess the skills, abilities and behaviours that the job requires. These typically go along the lines of, can you give me an example of when you worked in a team? Describe a time when you were innovative, or have you ever had to deal with conflict? Along similar lines, you might be asked strengths-based questions, and these are much more focused on your potential and what skills you most like to use, rather than purely looking at what you've achieved in the past. They are designed to be quick fire because the recruiter wants to grab your authentic, instinctive responses. So for example, you could be asked, what motivates you? Or what is your biggest strength? Or how do you measure success? They are also often either or questions, such as, would you prefer to work independently or as part of a team? Or do you prefer to focus on the big picture or the detail? You might also come across values-based questions, and these focus on how you match the values of an employer as a whole, rather than on the competencies for a specific role. So they are often mixed in with competency-based or strengths-based questions. Examples include, describe a situation where you have demonstrated integrity. Have you ever gone the extra mile to learn something new? And even, what are your values? Depending on the position, you may also face some technical questions. This is particularly likely for jobs in fields such as engineering, science, or IT. A classic technical interview question is, tell me about your final year project or dissertation. But bear in mind that other questions are likely to be more specific to the role you're applying to. For example, a civil engineering candidate might be asked, how would you approach a ground investigation for a building structure? An aerospace engineering candidate might be asked, can you explain this jet engine to me? Of course, that's not to say that interview questions we've listed are the only possibilities. For example, some employers might ask 1 or 2 off-the-wall interview questions, and they are designed to catch you by surprise and see how you cope and engage with the question. Examples here include, who should you play in a film? How many hens are there in the UK? Or if you were advising a climate skeptic politician, how would you convince them that climate change is real? And don't forget that you also have the chance to turn the tables and ask the interviewers some questions of your own. While it might not seem like it at the time, interviews are always a two-way process. What questions do you want to ask that will help you decide if the job and the employer are right for you? Equally, what questions can you ask to demonstrate your understanding of and curiosity about the employer and the opportunity? It's a good idea to think about this in advance and have some questions ready to go. So for instance, you might want to ask, what would success look like in this role in the first 6 months? Or what are some of the core challenges you've overcome in the past 6 months and how are they informing your strategy now? For now though, continue to the next stage of this course where we will be focusing on how to prepare for the questions you'll be asked.